case you didn't know, I have been living in Estonia for the past 8 years. In this video, I want to explain how living abroad in Estonia has transformed my life completely. So let's begin. I am much more closer to my family now than I was when I was living with them, which may sound counterintuitive, but when we are living with our family, when we are living with somebody for a very long time, we tend to not appreciate all the things that they do for us. So when you come home every day, then there is somebody that greets you, there's somebody that asks you how you're doing, there's somebody that you can talk to, there's somebody that you can lean on to, your mom, your dad, your brothers, your siblings, and all these people. It is only when you move abroad and you don't see them for a while, you tend to appreciate all the little things that were there, even though they were really annoying to you. Moving abroad and then coming here, it also taught me how much I am like my parents, because we tend to think of all, like the annoying habits that our parents have, the noise that they make while they're eating, and the way parents bicker and fight with each other. It is only when you move abroad and you only have that mirror looking at yourself and you have nobody else to blame to, you tend to realize that you are much more alike your parents than you think, and it's only then you tend to appreciate how much they really mean to you. It also gives you a sense of responsibility, because if you are in your room or in your apartment by yourself and you can't find something, then you can't really blame your parents or your siblings or anybody else, but you have to know that it was you who actually misplaced it. So yeah. Number two, and I think it's just much more closer to the same reason, is that I feel much more closer to my culture and my religion as well. So when I was in Pakistan, I didn't really appreciate all things that are, the culture has, and all the rituals and the things that we do. For example, one of the things that was often impressed upon me by my parents and everybody around me was to go to the mosque every day for prayers and say your prayers while you are in the mosque. It is only when you are not doing that, or you don't have the capacity to do that, for example, when you're living abroad, then you tend to appreciate why these things are there and why they are there for a reason. Because when you go to a mosque and you go for prayers, it creates a sense of community that is not really found when you are living, abroad. Because if you want to meet with friends, if you want to meet with somebody, then you have to plan in advance so much more before, and that sort of takes out the joy out of it. But if you are in Pakistan, if you go to mosque every day 5 times a day, then you really know that who are you going to meet and who are you going to talk to somebody, and it's a kind of a community. And of course there are religious aspects to this as well. You feel much more fulfilled, you feel much more peaceful. I think that is a better way to put at it. Another very important thing about our culture that I really didn't like before was this controlling aspect. In Pakistan or in India or in very Eastern countries, even China and Korea, the culture is like you don't necessarily have a very individual identity. You have an identity which is wrapped around your family, which is wrapped around your religion, your country. I understand that at a certain time it can get very overwhelming, because you tend to lose your individuality, and I feel that a lot of times many men and women become frustrated is because they have been living in this environment that is very stifling. But when we are in that environment, we tend to forget all the positive aspects that this collective brings to us, because this collective identity keeps you grounded, and it also supports you in your most vulnerable times. So if you're going through hardship or difficulty, you sort of take for granted that your family and your friends and everybody will be there for you, which is not necessarily the case when you are, for example, living abroad. So I really tend to look at my culture and my religion in a very different light, and I appreciate it more, I like it more, and I'm much more closer to my country and my religion than I was 8 years ago when I was living in Pakistan. The third most important transformation that I experienced was in relationships. Now, relationships doesn't necessarily mean romantic relationships. It can also include platonic relationships that you have with friends or your social circle or all these things. Now, I have always been a very, very introverted kid. I was the kind of a kid that would sit in the corner and read books or play video games, and I didn't have any skills about people or how talking to women, because that sort of freaked me out. But then moving to another country like here in Estonia and then going through some very tragic experiences, I kind of felt that this is something that I really need to work upon myself. I sort of took on this project that I really wanted to improve my relationships. I wanted to become more extroverted, I wanted to become more social, and I wanted to have a social circle of my own. I wanted to be more confident, and I wanted to be able to say and speak what I felt, what I liked, what I want whenever I wanted it, keeping the social norms in mind. I took it upon myself, and you could imagine that Estonia is probably the worst place in order to practice these things, or probably the best place, because it is like playing extroversion on hard mode. I got into improv where I was able to be more confident. I started posting videos on YouTube. I started posting videos on Facebook long before that as well. Started public speaking, so if I got any chance to speak publicly, I would take that opportunity. I also became more confident, and if I liked somebody, if I wanted to approach somebody, I didn't hesitate, and I would talk to people right in the public. Many Estonians it would freak them out that somebody like a total stranger is talking to them, but I was taking it upon myself as a challenge in order to push myself, to push the boundaries of what I can do. I think many Estonians, many people, and everyone around me, I made so many different friendships just because I was able to be confident and not be limited. Another thing that really improved me was my understanding of women, because in Pakistan, it's not necessarily taught to you how women think or feel or behave and all these things. And I think being abroad and being alone and being by yourself sort of taught you all these things by yourself. And I studied a lot, I read a lot, and experienced a lot in order to understand, okay, what do women feel like and what do women want and how do they think. And it's sort of this growths in my life, because I really think that any man who really wants to improve their life and their relationships needs to know how women think, because the way women think is also really important for men to know and to think as well. Cutting it short, I became really more confident, and I really become more extroverted, and that was only because I moved abroad to this country. So I really appreciate all the people who comment, who share, who like and subscribe, because it really keeps me going. So if you like something about this, if you appreciate, then please don't hesitate to write to me or comment, because this is the kind of fuel that keeps me going and making content about my life, and I really hope that it helps many of you. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the best. Take care.